Well, welcome everyone this afternoon, our last session of the day. Just wanted to introduce today's session. Will be using Google Sheets in the secondary classroom, and we're looking forward to your presentation. Verity Olaf. Enjoy, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Yesterday we did fairly decent going through this, and June was a great help of catching questions. So please put them in the chat. And I try to scan, but I get overwhelmed sometimes. So June will happily tell me when there's questions. Between the different sections, I'm also going to do a question and answer. So if you want me to repeat something, re-show something, explain it differently, or whatever questions you have, please feel free to make sure you share that out also. Just a little bit about myself. I am currently, as in these next 2 weeks, I am a part of the merit program. They are doing a hybrid high flex. So today I'm at home. Yesterday I was in the school. And so we're doing our merit. And so it's been overwhelming, but I'm going to share some great tips that I learned just the other day, and then I'm going to share them with you guys. You can see I am passionate. I use Pear Deck constantly. I am one of the Global Goals Ambassadors and Common Sense Educator, and I went through the Merit Academy in regards to online and blended instruction and Google Certified Trainer. So I hopefully can answer your questions. If not, I can definitely reach out with you. In my role, I work for the Riverside Union School District. I am at a site. It's called Rio Mesa. I am the learning and instructional technology coach. But I teach a course. Starting in August, I'll teach 2 courses, alternating days. So I have IB Theory of Knowledge. It is a program that's philosophy without the philosophers, and IB Personal and Professional Skills. It's for the CTE pathway of career program, and it helps students work with ethical questions and build resumes and all the things necessary to go in more career-based versus straight into university-based. So that's who I am. Real quick in the chat, if you don't mind, what is everyone's comfort level when it comes to using Sheets/Excel? So how do people feel about it? So medium, basics, good. Medium, basics, medium. Okay, so it looks like we have, yes, exactly, Mary. And that I'm an English teacher, Chicano lit, and history person. So Sheets was kind of like, that's nice. It's a big calculator. Yes, I can do my budget, but not something I first thought of. But it's amazing what you can do even as that verbal person. So yes, there are fantastic trainings on how to use Sheets the way it was meant to be, right? That Excel world, lots of data entry, numbers, calculations, formulas, all these things. I'm going to show you how to use it in a far more practical way. When it comes to using it not as it was intended. So I'll tell you where you can go to get those trainings during this and a little bit how we can use it. But I just want you going into it, really how we can just have data, but in more of what students think versus population and things like that. My current job, I have to use it much more as a numbers program, number crunching. And so I'm learning that portion. I've gone through tons of training with it. But the way I've always used it is really as just a warehouse of my students' thoughts. And it's a great way to get everybody's thoughts at once. So just so you know where I'm coming from, and hopefully this will help you. So looking at this, these are the 4 big areas we're going to talk about today. Number 1 is really as a data report, but not as number crunching, but really data report in the sense of who's in my classroom, what is happening, what patterns can I see? So you might use data in the sense of attendance within maybe a group project, because most of us have an SIS. You have your system. It might be Aries, it might be EduPoint, it might be whatever. We know we have those systems. It might be Q. But I might need attendance though on a group project. Who's showing up? What's their participation? What are some observable features I can look at? I did it typically within my outside reading. I wanted to see my students' engagement. So I could take a quick poll. Who's actually reading? Who's looking at their book, whether it's digital or paper, but who's looking at their book? Who has it open, but obviously is doing something else? Who doesn't ever have their book? Who purposely is tardy enough just so they don't have to get into the reading? And then I could go back and be like, I've noticed. And students are like, wow, you were paying attention. Well, yeah, I have my sheet. I can quickly look at it and be like, hey, you're struggling. Let's talk about this. So that kind of data report. Also in the sense of, I love getting feedback from my students. How am I doing as an educator? Data report. Temperature check. We know many of us started doing these during the pandemic, during distance learning, and they've held over because it's a way for us to know. Especially, I work in a high school. Students aren't the most vocal, but you can definitely see when they're having a problem. So this was a low entry point for students to express themselves, but it can get overwhelming, especially in a high school. You have 6 classes. When all 6 teachers did temperature checks, it was not a pleasant thing. It was just box checking. And so we had to find different systems within our school, but in your classroom, maybe this is something you still want, but not temperature as in your SEL, but temperature as in, how did this assignment go? Where are you at today in regards to our summative? Where are you at in regards to our inquiry? We can do temperature checks in other ways to get quick data, and then I can start seeing those patterns. And so as an educator, I can make appropriate choices. I can also change things. What's working? You know, do you like when I use Pear Deck? Do you prefer when I use Nearpod? Do you like when we just have discussions and you can just sit back and consume and share and not have to do the work? There's various ways, right? These are ways I can truly see where am I at with my students, but now that I'm transitioning, working with adults, where are my adults at? There's whole class thinking. So I was in the English classroom. It was language and literature. So we talked a lot, we wrote a lot, we read a lot. And so I would do like thesis throwdown. All right, we're gonna set a clock. We make it fun and exciting. We're reading this book. We talked about these themes. Give me your thesis. Do not write an essay. Give me your thesis, 5 minutes. And so I would have students type, enter all their thesi. And then end of class, you typically would just have yours. Well, if I did it on a sheet, or if I do it in Pear Deck and download it as a sheet, I can post that in my LMS, my Canvas, my Google Classroom, and then students have all 36 thesi. You can choose the one that's going to help you write your essay instead of maybe yours that you're not confident, or you liked theirs and yours together, but now you have theirs, you have yours, you can build a stronger thing. And so really for those formative lessons, Sheets works the best because it's quick. The computer does all the gathering and I don't have to sit there and copy and paste. I can quickly delete a column. No more names are there. It's truly anonymous. So things like that. That's really where Sheets started I found greater use of it and helpfulness in the classroom. And then, like I said, patterns of learning, patterns of instruction. I could keep track of what different methodologies have I used? Have I covered my standards, right? And I could quickly look and be like, oh, we got to do a lot more listening. Right? Listening is not something that I explicitly are giving them, right? So these were ways that I could track it. I could do it in color coding. I could do it quickly. I could use the tools of Sheets, but for things that are not just numbers, right? Really aspects of my teaching, my classroom. So that's what we're going to talk today. So starting off, we have our data reports. So these are 3 things that people commonly use, right? So many teachers, whether or not you have a grading system that you are required to use, or you have a grading system that you want to use, you could set up a sheet. The sample here is not from me. I simply did a quick Google search. This is from YouTube, but the educator here really set up some good examples. So if you're not confident in your grading system, you might want to watch a few of these, do a deeper dive. Think about, how can I use sheets? How can I make a form possibly? And then the data will enter into sheets, and then I can manipulate it, use it, figure it out. And then maybe I'll do a quick data entry into my student information system, into where I actually have to report it. I'm a high school teacher. We have to have grades. We have to have transcripts. Kids are graduating. Kids are going to college. I can't be like, I'm going gradeless. I would love that, but I have to turn something in. It's required of me. It is part of my job. So how can I do it in a way that's beneficial? There's two educators, Jen Roberts and Marissa Thompson. And they have, you can look them up on Twitter, on the internet, they have blogs. And with those two educators, they really have found ways of doing grading in a way that is useful for the students. And so Marissa Thompson in specific, she created an entire sheet where students are doing different types of writing. And then when it comes to the conclusion, the summative, that's the grade she will enter, not all of their practice. And so you might want to set up a way to do this. Jen Roberts is getting into looking at the analytics side of Google and actually building out like a progress report that she can give to her students weekly to show where they are on the standards. So there's really good ways you can do grades. What I've done is instead I've worked on attendance. So our school is transitioning from using a purchased credit recovery program to building our own credit recovery program, which is great because now we have teachers that students are comfortable with creating the material. Teachers are the ones that are administering it. Students are not just click, 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 click on a computer program, and it saves a significant amount of money, which is the reason why the district is transitioning. But it has it's a system building problem. So we didn't have a way to record attendance. So this is what I was able to come up with along with some other teachers' input. So you'll notice we have our sample attendance. You are able to see that I simply made 3 columns, name, ID, grade. Then I said, all right, there's 5 days in a week. So I made 5 more columns. And then as teachers talked and counselors talked, we realized we want to know, how have these students been reached? And so we created a new column. Excuse me. How did you reach out to the no-shows and the no participation? Participation is not technically required. It's not going to affect students' grades, but we found that students that don't ever show up probably are not accessing the system properly. They're not looking at their instructor as an advisor. And so this really helped so that when a student, after their 5-week courses, it's credit recovery, so you're getting about 50% of the information. It's all on Canvas, but if you're not showing up, you're probably not using it to the full. And so students that are not passing, and we do 7 sessions of this. So this was from session number 6. And I just pulled a teacher's information. And so I can really look back, and I have counselors have access to this. I have access to this. Admin has access, and of course the teachers have access. And so I can go through and be like, all right, student number 2 here is not showing up. So then I know, all right, 2, 3, 7, 9, and 10, week 1 did not show up. Then I look at Canvas, and as an admin on Canvas, I can look and be like, hey, those same students did not even log in. They obviously haven't submitted anything. It's week 1, but they haven't even logged into Canvas. All right, so I'm going to talk to those 5 students. So yes, teachers sent out a Canvas note. Well, Canvas ain't going nowhere if they haven't logged in. Teacher sent out Parent Square. Well, is it second language? Have their parents not signed up for Parent Square? So I can start looking at, all right, this is who counselors need to talk to immediately. Counselors can pull those 5 in. Our remediation counselor can pull those 5 in, and we can really look at it and be like, all right, these are the 5 you have to get on Canvas. Teachers, have you reached out to them in classes? Do you know what classes? Here, let me give you their schedule. And so it really helped but I can quickly do it. So the way you set it up is nice. Once you have it built, so like we have this week, I quickly can just go here and I can click and shift. So you'll notice I highlighted these boxes, and you will see when we look under data, right, I can go to data validation. When I click on data validation, you'll notice I have my cell, my teacher's name. There was 25 teachers. I just chose one. These are the cells that I'm immediately looking at right now. You'll notice you have a list here. I can do a whole range of cells, but I can do a list of items. And so that's what gave me this drop down list for quickness for teachers. They don't have to type anything. It's just right there. So list of items. And you'll notice these are the requirements. Were they present? Did they not show? Was it asynchronous? And that way too, I know not to get on a teacher. If like a teacher's like, look, I couldn't come in this week. I did everything online through Canvas. Well, asynchronous is fine. I'm not going to bother the kid, right? If it's a no-show, I'm going to bother the kid. I also, on some of these, I would add in a like no school, right? So when we were in April, we had spring break, holidays, things like that. So I could just put in a no school, like, or a Monday off. So you just add it here. You'll notice I want to choose show drop-down list in cell. The show warning is just if you type something there, it's going to warn you that it is a drop-down. Choose one of the options, and that way I don't have strangeness in the boxes. I could actually like put in a help text. My teachers were good. I didn't need to do that. And then I can just click save. So now when I go here, I can quickly click on my down arrow and I can choose any of these and it'll change. So this is a Monday. So maybe instead of asynchronous, this is going to be a no school. All right. So that box changed, but it's no school for everybody. So if I click my little box at the bottom, that little blue square, I simply drag and now it's no school for that entire row. So when teachers did attendance, I would tell them whatever's the biggest thing, the most common, whether it's present or no show, click that, drag it all the way through and then go back and fill in the ones that are present. So most teachers did no show, as you can see, and then they would go back and click in present because it was just faster that way. So this was an excellent way for several different interested bodies to really help students advance. Now, could you do the same thing, not on a system-wide, but in a classroom? Of course, right? So maybe you're working in various different breakout groups within the classroom. You could say, all right, who is present? Who is not doing it? Who's not been in our station rotation, right? So station 1, station 2, we could quickly change these to stations and you could have it open. You can lock this, you can lock this, and then students can just click like, yes, completed station 1, completed station 2, completed station 3, still in station 3, still in station 3. And then, all right, how did you solve your problems? And have students write in their response. So you could use the same schedule, but for a totally different thought. So station rotation, or working on a lab in a chemistry class, in a biology class, in math, completing their formative assignments to get ready for some practical. There's various ways. Maybe you have ASB and they're in specific committees. And I know our ASB director is constantly trying to figure out, what have you done? Have you made the poster? Who's working on prom? So this would be a way where you could just quickly have all your students here, take the information from Google Classroom, take it from your SIS, just get the names, add in this, and then you have a large spreadsheet that would allow you to quickly see where everyone is. Yes, it might require you to give them time to make sure they update, but at the same time, and you'll notice my teacher kind of stopped updating at a certain point, and that happens, right? But at the same time, this is definitely a way for you to keep track of things. So this is using the tools of Sheets, but in a very different way. So hopefully this helped so that you could see that. Also feedback forms. So every grading period, I would provide my students a form, quickly build the form. Once you have your form built, you'll notice I have my questions. These are directly the teaching standards. And so I would just, where am I, right? For my students, where am I on this teaching standards list? And then what do I need to work on? And any other comments. So then when they go to look at it, they're going to see, well, they're not going to see anything. I'm going to see this. And so I erased these because it's not important for our conversation right now, but you'll notice I quickly have it filled out so that I see where I am as an educator. So looking at this, I had exemplified according to my students. Meets, those are things I should work on. I'm doing it, but it's not the greatest. And then you'll notice quickly my far below standards, it stands out. So as an educator, I can be like, all right, how am I involving and guiding students in assessing their own learning? According to this student, I'm far below. And I can talk to that student, or I can start looking at my own teaching and be like, yes, I am below on that. How am I at communicating with students and families about progress, my grading, my feedback? According to everybody, okay, but not as good as I should be. And far below standard according to one, probably because they have a low grade. It was an honors course. Chances are that would be the reason why I got less than. And then how am I at working with families to foster collaboration and ensure student success? Students are nice. They gave me meets and nearly meets, but it's a high school. I know I probably should be at far below, right? Yes, I send out grades because I have to, but I don't call home. They're high school students. They were seniors. And so, you know, these are ways that as a teacher, I quickly can look at this and be like, all right, this is what I need to work at. This is something that is important for me. And then this is, you know, a sampling so that I can go back and reflect and be like, all right, this was a successful year. Can I look at a different one? And so like we talked about, you'll notice this is data validation. So all you do is to make the colors pop like this, you're going to click the first box of the information you want. And then you're going to go to the second box here. So again, click the first box, hold down the shift, click the second box of wherever you want. So now this whole section is highlighted. I'm going to go where it says format and where it says conditional formatting. I'm going to click that. You will notice this lovely little side box pops up. So if the word exemplifies is in that section, it's going to be blue. If the word meets is in this section, it's going to be green. And that's where we have this issue of meets and nearly meets. And then if it says far, it's going to be red. So I can always add another rule. And I'm going to change. So this is that whole area. And I'm going to change it to text contains. And I'm going to put in the word nearly. So if it has the word nearly, I'm going to make it go to yellow. And then I'm just going to say done. So now this one here. I need to make sure that this, instead of text contains, text starts with the word meets. There we go. Yes, absolutely. All right, so now you'll notice I have my 4 colors. They all pop. So I can quickly see like, no, this is something I really need to work on. I am not where I should be. So going back, you're going to choose your section you want. So looking at this, Deborah, I'm going to look and say, all right, I want my first box to be this one. And then I'm going to scroll over and I want my last box to be this one. I'm going to hold down shift and click it so that this whole section is highlighted. So that way I'm only working on this because this is free response. It is not going to be helpful. So this is very much the drop down menu. So I have this. I'm then going to go where it says add another rule. I can do a single color or I can do a color scale. So maybe you want one color and then just the various colors of it. I like single color because it pops better for me. You'll notice this is my section. If it says is not empty, it's going to all be green. Well, that's not really helpful for me. I want text contains, or text starts with, or text ends with, or text is exactly this, right? So for mine, I chose text contains. And then you choose the word you want. So what color, like what word is going to be the click? So for this, I'm going to say, and it's going to mess it up, it'll all be one color. I'm going to say standard. And if it contains the word standard, it's going to turn it purple. Right? So it contains the word standard. It is going to turn it purple. And I'm going to say done. Now you'll notice it didn't do anything because I already had these rules. So if I trash these rules, oh, now suddenly everything's going to turn purple because it has these and this one overrides it. Whereas if I trash this, I'm going to have these just highlighted. All right, so I'm just going to do add another rule. I'm going to say this is text contains. This is where I'm going to put the exemplifies. And I'm going to have it be a brighter blue. So now I have it like this, and I'm going to say done. So I have my colors, my bright blues, make myself feel good, my greens, my reds, not so good, my yellows. Did that help, Deborah?
Yes, I just wanted to see how you got there. Like I was like, you click shift something. I was like, what?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How'd you get there? All right, but I figured it out.
Okay, so yeah, format,
to do that.
conditional formatting.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So it really does help in this sense. Like, and this is taking it from a form. It was very much what I did with the attendance, where instead of taking it from a form, they literally just work on this. But you can do the same thing by taking it from a form. You're able to do the same coloring. And it just really helps because then quickly I can see what needs to be done. All right, so those were 3 ways for data reports that aren't number crunching, right? It's data and I'm seeing patterns, but it's not number crunching. I'm going to pause here and ask, are there any questions? Is there anything you want me to repeat? Is there anything that you want me to share again or go deeper? For anyone on the chat, you can put it in the chat or just talk, please talk. Does it work for everyone? Made sense? Hopefully the trepidation is a little lower. Yeah, going alongside is fantastic. It's the easiest way to do it and the nice thing is about Sheets, like you can take my sample attendance, click file, and all you have to do is once you click file, make a copy and then just start playing, change things. Like obviously those dates aren't going to work. Erase all the dates, put in the dates you want. These words might not be helpful. Instead of changing all of them, just go to where we went to data, go to data validation, change these terms to what you want. So say we don't want present, no school, any of that. We want 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to save, right? So now when I click, I have my choices. All right, you're going to be a 1. You're going to be a 4. So this would be another way you could do grades, simplified, right? So how are you working on run-on sentences? How are you working on paragraph building? How are you working on theme? How are you working on hook, right? Depending on what you're writing. How skilled are you in lab safety, beginning of the year for your biochemistry classes? How do you know how to use a Bunsen burner? 0, 0, 0, 4. All right, you're the person in charge of that group. We don't want to burn down the classroom, right? So you notice these are quick ways you can make those changes. And it does help. So that way quickly you're able to see like, no, that's exactly what I need for this. So hopefully that helps in that sense of ways you can use Sheets in a little different way. All right, so now how else can we use it? Temperature checks, temperature results, things like that. Like I said, I'm in KCI's merit program. these 2 weeks. And they shared this with us. Some amazing educator created a Google website. And it's the SEL GIF mood meters. So they are plenty of them. You now don't have to sit there and find stuff. So this is an art teacher, Amanda Pace. She has developed this. You can make your own if she has something that is not enough for you, but honestly, there's a ton here. So this was a big one. As educators, we were like, ooh, Cardi B, probably because I can't use it in class. So let's see. So you click on this, you will notice the majority of them have either 16 or 17 different GIFs. They will pop. So there we go. And you'll notice that they're placed in the quadrants. They're color coded. So we have yellow, red, blue, yellow, and green, depending on where students are. So you have this created. It is, as you can tell, a slide. It is simply a slide. So you are quickly able to now make a new form. So go to your form, start typing, drop the slide in. If you do it as a picture, they're no longer GIFs. So I'm going to show you my example here of I have my form. You can put in your email, your first and last name, and then you'll notice choose the gift that it should say best compares to your feelings today. You'll notice I did it as a link. Well, why would I do it as a link? That way the gifts stay alive. So students can simply click, they look at it. This was yesterday, I did a Disney one. They look at it and they're like, all right, where am I at on my Disney meter? I'm probably, it's the end of the day. You guys have been doing a lot of learning. I'm probably 11, like I'm chilling. This is my last class. So, or maybe you're just like, I'm burnt out. Me and Snow White are just happily clapping along, right? I am consuming. So you could be any of these. Say you choose 15 on your chart. I'm just going to scroll. You can tell I did the quick fill it in. I am option 15. I have seniors. They better be able to tell me why, not just if you have little kids, you can always just do the numbers. All right, tell me why. Why are you 15 today? Why is that rocking your world? And then submit. So once they do that, you quickly can look at the back ends. I'm going to do my responses. This was from yesterday. I was able to open, and you'll notice I have all of my students, they submitted. These are the ones who attended yesterday, and I have my options. So I can quickly see like, all right, we got some 17s. We had quite a few 11s. I think we had 15s, right? So I have 11s, 15s, 17s. So now I can look and quickly say, all right, so if I had an 11, a 15, and a 17, we're doing pretty good. Now, if I notice I have 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? Those are the kids I'm probably going to worry about. Like, all right, what can I do to make this better for you? And I do. I have some 8 and 9s, right? They were done. So I can have that discussion. Yes. So like Bethany is asking, can you make it so that the response color choice, right, lines up with my boxes? Absolutely. You're going to use that same skill, data validation. The beautiful thing is, and this is what I wanted to share is, so you make this once, I can use this same sheet and my same form every single day. The only change, or whenever I want to give it to students, the only change I'm going to do is, so this was Disney. All I have to do is change my link. And so now I don't want Disney. I want Cardi B today. So I'm going to go share. I'm going to copy my link. Now I'm going to go back to my form. I'm going to go back to my form. I'm going to change out my Disney. I'm going to put in Cardi B, and I'm good. It's done. So next day, next thing. The only thing is, like, Cardi B only has 16 options. So obviously I shouldn't get a 17. If I do get a 17, we got a problem. But it's going to be the same responses. So over the course of a quarter, a semester, a week, Yeah, that's why this teacher is amazing. Like her project, it has to be for some assignment, but it's beautiful. And so orderly. So I have my responses. So looking back here, I have my box, right? So again, I highlighted it. I'm going to go to format. I'm going to go to conditional formatting. I'm going to, right, look at my range instead is just going to be D. I'm going to change to text contains, and I'm going to say my value is 1, 2. I got to look at, where is my, so 1 through 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I have to look at this and be like, because some of them, they're a little off, so you might be in the wrong category, but for the most part, 1 through 5 is going to be my reds, right? So anywhere that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to say red. And I should have done, oh, it wants a whole range. Fine. D2 through D. Is it happier now? No, why is it angry? Make life challenging. All right. It's gonna throw it off a little bit. Is it gonna pop? No, still not happy. Oh, because it wants all those. So I'd have to do it several times. Yeah, so all my ones are gonna pop. So we're gonna say option. See, this is where it takes time. So my option 1, 2. So let's just change this from option 1 because I know I don't think I have any of those. If I change this to option 10, I do have that. Anywhere there, text contains, and it should pop. And it's not. But yes, your answer is it should. Data validation works. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but that's all you do. You're gonna add your conditional formatting. Tell I want option 15. All my 15s will change to green. All my 11s will change to blue. And then it'll take time. That first time you set it up, yes, you're gonna have to probably put in 15 rules, 16 rules, 17 rules. But like I said, just change out the link and you'll just see, you can go by student. All right, during the week you were this. You can go by periods. During the week we were that, right? So that's truly where you can get that data processing in that sense. So hopefully that helps with the thing. I think we're good. We're good. We're good. Yes, I know we were all spending time looking for gifts all over the internet that were school appropriate, and this is all done. Save so much time. If only I had that like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So needless to say, this is beautiful. My only caveat is, remember, especially if you teach in a high school, don't do SEL checks every day, because they're probably getting them 6, 7 times. In our school, we actually had to have like days of the week. Math is allowed this day, English is this day. That way students didn't get it constantly. I just have a QR code in my class, so students can check in that way if they need to. Some students every day. Other students, when they're having a hard time, that's when they check in, and they know I'm going to check it. I check it every day. They'll get an email, they'll get a parent square, they'll get some message, and then we can talk, like, what is their concern? So this is a helpful way for temperature checking. If you use Pear Deck, Quizzes, Edpuzzle, Kahoot, Socrative, GoFormative, any of those platforms, I think I covered all the ones we talked about yesterday. If you use any of those platforms, one of the things that they all do is they will give you what's called a CSV file. You can download. If you use Google Classroom, you can download. So what it looks like is I do Pear Deck constantly. We use Pear Deck in my class. Pear Deck does give you where you can see students' responses in their Pear Deck worlds, and I can respond right away. But they are painful when I'm trying to look at their responses, because I got to look each question, each student. I got 38 classes. Like, it's a lot of scrolling. It's a lot of clicking. I got to go through slide after slide after slide. when I turn it, so what you do is you're going to close the Pear Deck so it gets the black circle. And then one of your options is send to file, send to CSV. If you choose that, you get this. So this is a slide deck. And you'll notice I have the answers to all of the slides in one place. Granted, I did like the funky slides where they had to put themselves somewhere. It gives you the XY coordinate. That is not helpful at all. I don't need the dots, right? But I want the responses. This is the part I care about. So all I have to do is go D through H. I'm going to change this so that instead of cutting off, because I can't really read there, I'm going to change this to wrap so I can see my students' full response. And quickly I can look through and be like, all right, student 1, how you doing? All right, you know what you're doing. Student 2, better. Oh, good. You're using the terms that I want you to use. I'm getting some data because my commercial was blocked, right? So that's an internet issue. I got to fix that. That's on me as the teacher. Oh, somebody signed in and never answered anything. Like, were you not paying attention? Something happened. Wi-Fi go down, right? So I can definitely quickly look at this and just scroll through and see some answers, right? I can see, oh, we're getting some deep discussions here, right? I can get assumptions students are looking at. So this was ways for me quickly to take the information I get from Pear Deck, but in a way that as a teacher, I can quickly consume. I can give feedback. I can quickly see where it is. Now, if students have awesome answers, I might say, I just want all of us to look at the answers everyone gave for slide 3. So if I Control C, I copy that, right? I can just open up a new one. I can, sorry, picture. I can just go to A. I can bring it in. And then I can just make this big. We're only looking at one as a class. I could project this. There's no names involved. And I could say, all right, so looking at this, what do we notice as a class? What here is a golden moment, a golden thought, right? So something we really could start looking at. And I can see, all right, so where are we similar in our thoughts and where are we vastly divergent in our thoughts? So this was a quick way, like when I said that you truly can see where students are, I'm using the power of a tool. It's harnessing all this. There was no copying and pasting in my world at all. The computer did it. But as an educator, I can quickly use it as a teaching opportunity or as a quick information gathering or, I got to repeat that because nobody understood what I was talking about. Quizzes. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Quizzes does the same thing. It pops out. I can see scores in a very quick way. So these were questions for our students incoming. We're in IB school. So what does IB actually stand for? Like, do you know the answer? And so I can quickly look and be like, all right, they're good. How many attributes does it have? All right, people know, right? And this was a whole school response, right? So I can see, all right, we got some answers, we got some no answers. One of the jokes is people always confuse it with international baccalaureate and international bachelorette. So that was one of the options. So it was just a quick way. And obviously somebody fell for it because I got my pink there, right? So there's different ways that I can quickly look at this. I can see. So we took this information and obviously for number 5, we actually made commercials. So students are like, oh, that's the program I'm in, because students don't know what program they're in. They're good. They knew to come back to high school for us. So it's just ways for us to look at this and ways for us to see that. So again, I could look at quizzes. I could go to reports. I could go to Edpuzzle. I could go to reports. But if I really want to know how my teaching is, by bringing it into and using the skills of sheets, I'm able to sort, I'm able to color code. Those programs color code for me, right? Quizzes, color codes, Edpuzzle color codes for me. I'm quickly able to see right or wrong. But in Pear Deck, I could simply do a Control F and I can look for where, the word intertextuality, does it pop up? Are they using the correct vocabulary for this comment? So it's just a quick way to do that. Another one, this is the most beautiful thing ever. It's Flippity. I don't know how many people are comfortable or used to it. So Flippity is a free website. When you click on Flippity, you will get all of these lovely choices. So if you've sat there and tried to create flashcards, Jeopardy, name pickers, randomizers, there is all sorts of things that we as teachers have tried to create. Memory, Monopoly, Candyland, Connect 4, leaderboards, badge tracking, typing tests, Wordle, crosswords, any of these, they're all free. So what you do, and this is my favorite one, is it's a randomizer. And I've showed this to my history teachers. So you will notice this example looks like this. This is a spreadsheet. They just play with it. So what, like it says, you want to make your own randomizer. So I want to make a flip wheel like this, but I'm not talking about these countries. So instead, I can modify this template. So I click on the template. I am able to make a copy. Oh, go away. So you'll notice it shows up. So now I'm going to go through here and be all, who's my who's? All right. So I don't want these random conversations. That is not helpful. I'm in a history class. So instead, I'm going to go through and I'm going to change all of my people. So we're going to study revolutions. And so we have Ben Franklin. We might have Thomas. We're going to have George. Right. I'm also going to bring in some of my Brits, some of my French people. Right. I'm going to have everybody there. My what, chances are we're talking about the Revolutionary War. I'm not going to go to various places in life. So I'm simply going to have one. That is your option. My when, well, I have different time periods. So instead, this one, I'm probably going to have, 1775, 1776. I might have different times. I might have like what happened in May of 1776, what happened in July of 1776, right? So I'm going to have specific time periods. And then where, well, it's going to be probably the United States, right? There's kind of where it happened, right? So I'm going to, again, just have one category. Right? So now I have this built. It's a spreadsheet. This is ugly. This is not going to help anyone. Right? This is not like it's built, but it's not helpful. So I'm going to go get the link here. I now have my link. Right? Like it says, I got to share it. Otherwise we have issues, right? As we all know. So instead of it being restricted, we're going to make it anyone with the link. So I want students to actually use it. Now it's done. Now I'm going to click. And I'm going to go to it. We're going to dance. We're going to wait. Oh, that's not nice. No, it has like a 5-minute delay because it's building it. And my resources are very low. Whatever. All right. It builds it. Well, you'll believe me. It builds it. So it's going to be here. And instead, all my who's are going to be what we talked about. My what's just going to be the revolution. So in class, when it's time for a review, or if I want to do inquiry, I simply am able to go over here. I click my roll. It's going to roll and it'll line up. And I say, all right, group 1, you got Benjamin Franklin, 1776 in the United States. Inquiry, research, what happened? What did he do? How was he involved? And then the next group. All right, we're still going to do the same time period. I'm going to just roll my first column. Group number 3, you got George, figure it out. How was he involved? And so it really helps in that sense of I was able to, from a spreadsheet, I was quickly able to put in my terms, what I want, but when I give it to the students, this is in a much more palatable way. And maybe this gets annoying. Like we all know it's the United States during the Revolutionary War. So I can quickly just get rid of that option and it'll just stay there. This one won't change anymore, right? It's just not there. I'm not worried about it. It's going to be this. And so when I roll, right, they're all going to roll. But this one, you notice, always stays this. So it's not a big thing, right? It's not going to keep rotating. I want this to be the constant. This are going to be the things that change. All right. So hopefully that is something that you find useful. Flippity has helped tremendously when I was doing creative writing. I would put characters, settings, right? You can change this at the top. Like we saw on here, I can change my column. So this could be historical figures, right? So I can change all of this at my top, and then I'm able to do that. Question. I heard a talking. No questions? Yeah, so you're able to change all of this and then it builds it, and it's fantastic. It really does help. A lot of our history teachers use this right when it was coming time for finals. They would put in the key figures. They'd put in, you know, units. And that way it was like George Washington Unit 1. And they just had a single one. Like they actually, it was strange. The one teacher who did it, he actually decided to use the random name picker. And it's supposed to be like win a prize. Instead, he simply did it where he changed all of the names to historical figures they studied. And this is how the students got their like inquiry project at the end of the year. Like these were the people that should have been in our history book, but that weren't. All right, I want you to research. And so this is how students did their big research project. It was just the names, and then students had to do research on them. You'll notice you can do it so that you have a single name, so it's not overwhelming, right? And you don't have all the names, because then people are like, I want that one. You can do it so they don't know who's there. You can do it as like a lineup. You can do groups. So it's the same students. So this is a way to make your group randomizer. You can do groups of 2, groups of 3, groups of 4, groups of 5. You can do teams. You can do seating charts, right? And we all know sometimes it would be nice just to let a randomizer do it. And then of course you can take over. And then there's more, right? Look at all of this. I can decide I'm going to do like speed networking. All right, these people are going to talk to each other for a while. I can have all of these. I can go up to 12 teams, depending on how many. I could do like a gift exchange. So this person is going to deal with this person, and then this person is going to deal with this person. And so you can see it creates it. I can then mix it up. Like we need to have some fun here. So I can mix it around. It actually creates the gift tags for you. So this could be like, who are you going to talk to? Who's going to be person A, person B, right? We've all had those conversations, especially if you're working in like the EL classroom, where I want you to have comfort. This is your home person that you're going to practice your speaking with, so that you have that familiarity. So Flippity is a beautiful thing. It's free. It's a website, so it works on everything. And like it says, you want to do a quick edit. I just have to drop my names in. And I'm going to grab that from anywhere, right? I can quickly just drop in my names and apply from a spreadsheet, or just copy and paste. From a spreadsheet is better though, because then it stays live. So if you do the spreadsheet, you just apply it and then there it goes, right? So it is a great way, especially beginning of the year when you don't even know the students. So let the computer take care of it, right? I don't know the kids. Like I could totally just let the computer, and then I can always make modifications. So Flippity is a beautiful, beautiful thing for teachers, especially when you want to do reviews. Like there's, yes, you can buy all of these, but it makes it. They even have word clouds. You can do Mad Libs. You can do tournament brackets. We did that for characters, like which character is better based on the novel, things like that. So all sorts of stuff that it's all a spreadsheet. It's just how you make it look pretty. All right, it is 3:05. We got like another 5 minutes. What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? What questions do you have? I know it's the end of the day. anything I can demonstrate for you? Yes, it is very useful. And it's all the time saving tricks so that we can really spend that time. Because oftentimes we spend a lot of, I don't know, I spend a lot of time creating, but I really want to spend time on looking at what my students are learning. Like, yeah, I can teach them anything, but what are they learning? And so by using these tools, I quickly can see what's the learning happening so I can make adjustments. So it's been useful for me. And I am 100% verbal person, English and history. And so this is really helpful in that I can use a number cruncher without numbers. Like I can just use the tools. I don't have to worry about formulas and memorization. All right, Quincy, if you have questions, because this is overwhelming. Obviously, this is recorded. You are 100% able to go back. This slide here in my presentation deck has resources. So Goodwill, the corporation charity, they actually have a learning system. Our county uses this. It teaches you how to use sheets the number way. So if you need to go back and be like, no, I need a little more on just sheets themselves, like what's it called? You can go beginning, and go through this, and it's a step-by-step interactive. It's beautiful. Of course, Google teaches you, but it's Google. So sometimes they leave out important things because they're like, everybody knows this. And you're like, no, I need a little simpler. And then this is Jen Roberts. She has the blog Lit in Tech. She has beautiful ideas. She is a sheets master. And so this is something that will be useful to reach out to her on Twitter or look at her blog and really get some better information. And then as always, please know, you can email me. I am not in the classroom, so I have time. So you can email me and I can help you. I can walk you through. This is my office number. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. You can DM me. I would be happy to answer any questions. So if you're brand new to Sheets and you're like, I want to do that, I can probably help you set it up and then you can just make a copy, right? So please do not feel intimidated. If something here is something you want to do, but you're like, I'm not there yet, she went too fast, please reach out to me. I will happily, I can build them incredibly quickly and then you can just play. You can make it much easier for yourself. So if you have questions, please stay on. If not, please go enjoy the last few days of summer that we have and stay cool and refreshed and hydrated, all that good stuff. Yeah, so Robin, if you're a beginning, definitely use this one. So you simply click on it. It takes you to their site. You'll watch the video. And then they truly give you like all about it. And they give you ideas like how to organize a field trip, how to do this, how to do that. And then they go through and tell you how to create it like step by step by step by step. But as you can see, if you're like, no, I know that. Oh, I have no idea. And then they have these cool things where you're like, I can just click. So number one question, people are like, hey, does it save itself? Yes, it does. Like, so they have it really nicely annotated so that you get very basic understanding. And then it just progresses all the way through like pivot tables and ridiculousness of sheets. That here, this is the website. It's a long one. So if you just go to my slides, it's this one here, the GCF Global. For the slides themselves, did I put it on the last one? It's this here is the address. So here, let me put it in the chat again. It's a bit.ly. And it's GC for Google Camp 22 and then Sheets. So there you go. So this is my slide deck and then you can just scroll and it has all the links. It has all my samples. It has everything. And these are so that you can hyperlink them. So you can just touch them and they'll go there too. If you have questions, please stay on and ask. If not, you are free. Run away, enjoy life. Go practice, go play around on Sheets.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, Deborah. And if you have questions on any of it, please reach out.